Why Not? A queer podcast.
Thank you to our sponsor, Pineapple Healthcare, an award-winning primary care clinic right here in Orlando.
Pineapple Healthcare offers mental health counseling, HIV, STI testing and treatment, and specializes in care for the LGBTQ plus community.
Open Monday through Saturday. Call today at 407-553-6336 and schedule your appointment.
Pineapple Healthcare. Better together.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Todd.
And I'm Jeremy Williams, and you're listening to Wine,
Why Not? A queer podcast.
episode 97. Ooh, we're getting closer and closer.
So nice. Do you remember that phase of time where I was like messing up the episode number on the sheets, and in past night we'd never know what episode it was?
I sure do.
I've gotten better about that.
Yeah, if you got real good about it.
Yeah, so episode 97. So let's jump in. Let's jump into some silly facts about 1997.
1997 was such a good year. It was the year I graduated high school. It was the start of the second term of one of our greatest presidents ever, Bill Clinton. I guess that depends on who you ask. But I thought he was a pretty good president. We had a pretty good economy when he left.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask.
But yeah, so he started his second, he got inaugurated at the beginning of 97, and just weeks later signed a ban banning federal funding to go to research for human cloning. Remember when that was a thing? Like we were scared to death humans were going to be cloned.
I mean, what would be the point? Other than
having
to build
two of me?
Well, I mean, is that really how it would go? I mean, they cloned Dolly, right? And she died.
Did she? She was a sheep.
The sheep?
Yeah.
I feel like she did.
I feel like if he had just been like, you know what, let's see how this goes. 25 years later, That
doesn't sound like a let's see how this goes.
I'm curious where we'd be if he didn't sign that ban.
I feel like you need to have a plan if you're going to get into human cloning. Because, okay, let's just go with first of all, there's not going to be over-the-counter cloning. It's not like you're going to go to Walmart and buy a box of something and clone you, and then you're like, oh, great, now there's two of me. Because even if there was, at that point, the two of you are going to be learning different things about day-to-day life. So you're going to have like, this one does this and this one does this. And then when it gets too much, which one are you going to kill, you or the clone?
Well, the clone dies, of course.
And how do we tell you apart?
I'm sure we'll be marked. I mean, these are all questions that could have been answered if Bill Clinton didn't stand in the way of progress.
Did you ever watch that TV show, Kyle XY?
No. But
I loved it.
But I have seen the trailer for Mickey 17, which involves human cloning.
Kyle
really
XY.
Good.
He's gay. He's gay. The guy who stars in it.
Congratulations.
Great looking guy. Great show. Here's how you tell the clone. Clones don't have a belly button. No umbilical cord.
Smart.
At least in that show. But anyway.
It's real smart.
What else you got? Cloning,
Ooh. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was first published, kicking off one of the biggest pop culture phenomenon in the world.
That JK, I think she's going somewhere.
She's going somewhere.
I do not agree with the teachings of J.K. Rowling.
A little company known as Netflix was founded and it started as an online mail order DVD rental company. Remember that?
Mail order. Yeah, you get that little envelope.
Yep, you'd put it in the mail. They'd mail you another DVD.
Yep.
Fantastic.
They should really broaden. They should expand. That's a good service.
We had quite a few high-profile deaths.
We did.
Notorious B.I.G. was killed in a drive-by shooting.
Tupac did it.
Tupac died a few months earlier, so I don't think he did it. Chris Farley was found dead of a drug overdose. It was very sad.
Was he found in a van?
Down by the river. Giovanni Versace was shot to death in front of his Miami home.
There were a lot of high profile.
A couple of months ago, me and Chris went down to Miami, and it's not an Airbnb, but it's the other one. What is that? That's like Verbo. Thank you. Verbo was 2 buildings down from Versace's house. And it was very interesting.
I don't know why it made me laugh. I'm thinking either he didn't live in a really expensive thing or you shelled out a lot of money for a Verbo.
It wasn't that much money, but it was right there on Miami Beach.
Okay.
It's a good time.
Right.
We were, I think we talked about it, but our apartment was right above where they shot Birdcage.
Not to quote somebody from a movie we're about to cover, but But it sounds like it's time for a pay decrease.
Let's not pretend I paid for it. And of course, I think the big one, Princess Diana, died in a car crash in Paris after being chased by paparazzi.
That was such big news.
It was huge. You remember where you were when that happened? I feel like that was one of those moments where you remember where you were when you heard about it.
I remember watching it, watching the coverage on TV at my mom's house. So I must have been there.
I was at work. I was working at Mugs and Movies at Carmike Cinemas, and one of our servers, because it was one of those movie theaters where it has like a kitchen, so they serve you while you watch your movie. And one of the servers came in, from her break or whatever, and was like, Princess Diana was in a car accident. And then when I got home, my whole family was watching it. They're like, she's dead. And I was like, oh, I'm going up to bed.
I know that this is not the point of your story, but I just want to say Mugs and Movies, that is a brilliant name.
Yeah.
You don't even have to question what happens. You know what happens. I can see the logo. It's great. Great name.
They had a bar, and in the very last showing of that night, you could smoke in the theater. Yeah. Those were the days. This is another big thing. It was the rematch between Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson in Vegas, and it's the infamous fight where Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off.
Oh yeah, good times.
And he said it was wild.
Did he chew on the other guy?
No.
Paul,
Although throughout Jake Paul, the entire match, he kept biting his gloves, and they kept commenting that I guess he has like a weird tick. And I was like, somebody should have told Evander Holyfield about the tick.
Who's his sparring partner? Army Hammer? Allegedly. I don't know.
Let's
see
what
like
else.
An LOL? Like if you say something mean to somebody, if you end it with LOL, then it's fine. But then if you say something that you probably shouldn't say, if you just say like allegedly afterwards, then it's okay.
Yeah, it covers you legally.
Does that still work after January 20th?
Well, once everybody's pardoned, it will.
Does anything work after that?
A little known website registered its URL for the first time, google.com.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And went on to be one of the kings of the world.
So this means like during this, like probably right now, like Yahoo's in its heyday.
Yeah, 97. Because Yahoo, that was my first, I don't know why I sound like Christopher Walken there. Yahoo. Yahoo was the first email address I ever had, and it was like the late 90s that I got that. And then you lived were you in New York in the late 90s?
End of 98 and 99.
Oh, okay, so this happened right before you went to New York, but the 71st Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade turned violent because of high winds, and the Cat in the Hat balloon slammed into a lamppost, which got knocked over, landed on a spectator, and put him in a month-long coma. Could you imagine being that person? You're out there having a good time.
Christopher Walken just turned Southern.
And the Cat in the Hat put you in a coma for a month?
I can't. Yeah, that's. I remember watching a documentary about the woman that got like severely injured in that. That was awful.
She sue? She probably sued.
It's like, you just think it's a balloon, but it's huge. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cuckoo.
Some of the big films that year, Liar, Liar.
God,
One
I
of Jim
love that
Carrey's
movie.
best.
I wasn't really a big fan of Jim Carrey, but I did love that movie.
Good movie. Men in Black.
Yeah. Good one.
Air Force One. It's a good movie. Harrison Ford's heyday.
I quote that movie all the time.
One of my favorite movies. Get off my plane.
No.
Oh, I don't know.
My favorite part of it was at the end is that the lady that sent the fax on the plane is like, she's parachuted out and she's holding on a thing. She's like, yeah. No, if you give a monster a cookie, he'll ask for a glass of milk.
Oh, interesting. One of my favorite movies came out this year, My Best Friend's Wedding with Julia Roberts.
Good one.
Good movie.
Guess who didn't age very well?
What?
Guess who didn't age very well?
Dermot Mulroney.
He's in Chicago Fire now.
Yeah.
And he
looks rough.
I mean, he just, like sometimes people, like the defining lines of their face just
sink.
Yeah, his sank.
Oof. Speaking of sinking, the biggest film of the year, Titanic, came out. And much like
There's room on the
Google.
door, Rose.
That's what was that show?
Oh, Mythbusters.
Mythbusters.
Yeah.
They busted that myth. Said it was the weight. It wasn't that he didn't have room on the door. But the weight of both of them would have sunk the door.
I don't believe it.
Well, take it up with Mythbusters.
How much did he weigh? He couldn't have weighed more than 90 pounds. He was a little twink.
Yeah, it was a little door. I mean, it was a big door, but it was it was a door. It wasn't designed to hold two people's weight.
I mean, even if it sank like 3 inches, I think that would have been okay.
I don't know.
Just saying.
TV shows that premiered in '97. South Park. Hilarious.
That was when it was shockingly good.
Yeah. I mean, it's still pretty good. I don't know if you still watch it.
I can't
love it.
because Dylan doesn't like it.
Dylan doesn't like South Park?
I mean, it's no Bob's Burgers.
It certainly isn't Bob's Burgers.
I do love Bob's Burgers, but I also like South Park.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer premiered. Good show. Ally McBeal and its Dancing Baby.
Yeah. He did age well. Isn't? No, he's in The Practice. Never mind. Different guy.
And King of the Hill. Speaking of animated shows.
Damn it, Bobby.
And if you were babies at that time or children, 2 huge kids shows, Teletubbies and Pokemon, both premiered in '97.
Wow. 97 was a big year. What about songs?
Songs. Spice Girls Wannabe. Although Spice Girls had like 3 or 4 top 10 or top Billboard 100 songs. Hanson's Mbop. Where Have All the Cowboys Gone by Paula Cole. Love that song. Well, Puff Daddy had a couple of top 5 hits. I'll Be Missing You and Can't Nobody Hold Me Down. Doesn't really apply
You know
now.
why?
It does it, Puff Daddy.
Because of all that baby oil. Nobody can hold him down.
Staying with the singers we can't listen to anymore, I Believe I Can Fly from R. Kelly came out.
I'm just going to say, that is a great song.
It's all right.
I love that song.
That was our class song for our graduating year.
That's a good way to ruin a song. Although our class song, I loved it. Forever Young by Alphaville. Great song. Still good.
The biggest hit of the year, tied to one of the biggest events of the year, Elton John's remake of Candle in the Wind, remade for Princess Diana, was not only the biggest hit, but it's still, I think, the best-selling single.
Do you know what that reminds me of? Remember, like, it was 1997 that they did this. It was a big thing to do, where they would play a song on the radio, but they would put sound bites in it. So they did it with Titanic, with My Heart Will Go On, and they put sound bites from the movie in it, and then the remake of Candle in the Wind, they put sound bites of
the
her.
Aerosmith from Armageddon. They also did. They have when the Ben Affleck with the little animal cracker on her tummy, like I'm a little cracker, and I was like, we don't need that. Just play the song. So stupid. Anyway.
Oh wow.
So that's what I got for 97. Yeah. You have anything you want to add to it?
No.
No. Oh, all right.
No. Good job. Well covered.
Yeah. It was a big year for me, so I wanted to make sure that we went very in depth with it. Yeah. Well, now we're in a lull in the show. How was your week?
I was confused because I was looking at something and it says something about Lost World Jurassic Park.
Oh, that also came out in '97. That was the sequel to Jurassic Park. It's a pretty big movie.
That was the sequel.
Yeah.
That wasn't as good.
Critically and commercially, no, it was not as big as the original. But none of them were. Although I think that the Lost World or the Jurassic World was I think that made like $1 billion.
That's the newer ones.
Yeah, with Chris Pratt.
Those are good.
All right.
No?
The first one was okay. The 2 sequels were a little, they just progressively got, the third one that just came out like 2 years ago was about like killer mosquitoes or some shit. It barely had dinosaurs in it. It was stupid. Anyway, that's just my opinion.
All right.
Allegedly, it was stupid.
Honestly, that's why we're here, for your opinion.
That is true.
100%.
The movie sucked. However, there's a new one coming out in June with Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey, who is a homosexual, so we can talk about it.
Oh, very nice. Unlike Marvel movies, I don't I don't care how many Jurassic Park movies they make. I'll see them all.
Yeah.
But I'm probably saying that because they do a respectful number of them. They're not up to 87.
Which I think
or whatever
they're up to
dumb
110
number.
for Marvel movies and shows now. It's like over 100. It's ridiculous.
I'm just not ever watching one ever again.
Yeah.
Marvel could do the ambiguously gay duo, and I would be like, no, that's not true. I'd go see that.
Yeah.
Depends on who the duo were. What if it was Matt Bomer and Jonathan Bailey?
Oh, do you know who voiced the ambiguously gay duo? Steve Carell. And I don't know if he was one of the duo, but I think he was one of the villains. Steve Carell. Stephen Colbert was one of the
Really?
villains. Yeah.
I don't remember them speaking, so I guess I can believe that.
Yeah. In fact, I believe Steve Carell is the Robin one. The bottom, if you will.
I was gonna say that. It's funny that we make those jokes about who's a bottom and who's not when as if that's some sort of you're not cool, you're a bottom. But so many people are.
Cool or bottoms?
Both.
Yeah, I don't judge.
Oh, it's like,
Be a
you
top.
don't what? Because
Don't.
I know you ain't about to lie.
Be a top, be a bottom, be a verse. To each their own. I don't judge. I was just pulling up the voices. Oh yeah, Ace and Gary are voiced by Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell.
No, the Steves,
The Steves.
which goes along with the line from Steel Magnolias that every gay man is named Rick, Mark, or Steve.
Rick, Mark, or Steve. When I first started working at Watermark, my boss was Mark, his boss was Rick, and our editor was Steve.
That's a lot of gay.
They weren't wrong.
That's a whole lot of gay.
So how was your week?
Oh, my week was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. You know, I left here on Monday. We recorded just a little bit early because I had a bit of a situation where I was taking medication.
Cleaning yourself out.
Cleaning myself out for a colonoscopy the next day.
No bottom in that night.
Major bottoming the next day.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had to go do that, which was an experience. You know, it was a whole ordeal. So Dylan drove me there, which was very nice. But somebody decided to get married on my colonoscopy day, so he didn't stick around to pick me up. He went to the wedding. By the way, congratulations,
Caitlin.
Caitlin made it official.
Yes.
Got it in before they take it away. So good job. Getting gay married while the getting gay married is good. So he drops me off there, but they were really weird about hey, if you've got family here with you or friends, then you need to go wait out into this other lobby somewhere else. You can't wait here. This is just for the patients. And I'm like, okay. So I just told him to leave. I was like, you can go. I'll just fill out the paperwork and sit here and wait. And while I'm sitting there and waiting, I was at a MAGA rally. It was so weird. There were just people loudly talking about how much they loved Donald Trump, which is weird for me because I don't usually find myself in that sort of a situation. And loudly talking about it, emboldeningly saying things I hear, he's gonna, and so by the way, no friends or family. So these are all different people. They're not together. They're all separate.
Yeah.
And there's a group of them all just talking and he's suing New York. Yeah, yada. They're all going to go down for how they treated him and what they did. And, and Elon Musk is so great. And it was just all this. It was just weird to hear.
Yeah.
So I could not have acted any more exacerbated by their conversation than I did. And they probably just thought I was angry that I was filling out paperwork, but I'm like, so that was really fun. But then they come and they get me and they take me to the back. And the other interesting part of this experience is that I do not usually find myself in a situation where I don't understand what anyone's saying. Right. So of everyone that I encountered, their primary language was Spanish, and the majority of them didn't speak any English at all. And but the nurse that was dealing with me directly spoke a little bit of English. just very little. So it was more of like she would just smile at me and pat me, like, okay. And so I'm like, cool. I mean, I will say, of course, I don't have an issue with any of this. But
Sure.
in fact, it brought me a lot of joy feeling that when those people from the lobby got back here, they were going to get really pissed off and they were going to be like, why? And which I'll get to in a minute. So, so there was there was somebody being trained. She didn't speak English at all. And she was being trained on how to set up the IVs. So she's doing things and like she lays everything out on the bed and she'll touch something and then you'll hear, mm-mm. And so the person training her would take that, throw it away, and get a new thing out, and they put it up there. And then, so I'm like, okay, this is going to go really great. And I just get that. I hate it when people put a needle in you and then they start wiggling it around, trying to find the vein. Oh, I just like take it out, put it back in. So I was worried that was going to happen. So we get there and they're like, she's picking my arm and she's doing things. She puts the needle in, which didn't hurt. That was fine. And then she like does something with my arm and you hear this, no, like real loud. And then she grabs my hand.
From the other nurse?
From the other nurse.
Oh.
And then does something and then they put tape on it and then they both walk out. And then she's like, she said something. She looks at me. She goes, 1 hour? Like that, 1 hour? So I was to sit there for an hour. And
Good
then
Lord.
they go to shut the curtain. Now, the curtain, it's like one of those sliding things. The last 5 loops on the curtain were hanging down. So they didn't close all the way. And I was in the very last thing by the exit door. So I'm just there. Like, hey, how's it going? Like looking at everybody going in and out of the door, the people coming to pick the other people up and their little procedures. And so I just started taking pictures of everybody because I thought it was funny that people could just see me laying there. So then somebody, I think, saw me take a picture. So they came by and they pulled the curtain really hard, which closed it, which made the other end of the curtain come like this. And then I look over and there's some lady laying in her bed with her arm over her head like this. And she goes over, she looks at me, she's like, It's like, what is happening? That was fun. So,
do you want to give a shout out to what clinic or hospital you had this all done at so no one goes?
No, because this is a lot like me talking about Wicked last time where I talked about it and then I gave it 2.5 stars and you're like, I don't understand. You don't sound like somebody who enjoyed it. So you're going to
give this thumbs up.
Yeah, so I am. I mean, they were very kind and it was fine. I personally didn't have a lot of problems with it. It made me laugh mostly. Yeah. But then that 1 hour wait was 2 hours and 15 minutes that I sat there listening to those people who had their procedures done come back. There was a guy he actually yelled out loud, where are all of the Americans? This is America. Gosh. I was like, oh my God, you don't know. Anyway, so that was really obnoxious. And then he yelled out to his friend, did you guys clean my trailer while I was here? And then I was like, oh, I'm okay.
All right.
So anyway, that was...
everything worked out well, though?
Yeah, I mean, he came by afterwards and patted me on the back and said
you're good.
Said there was nothing. I mean, the reason I had to get it done is because a couple of years ago they did it and they took a couple of polyps out. Yeah. And they were fine. But this time it was nothing. So that was good. So they did, though, while Jen was coming to pick me up, they said, okay, well, while you wait, do you want to fill out this Google survey? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, yeah, get me while I'm high on drugs. Yeah, let's do it. So that was fun. Anyway, That was all of that. Then there was Thanksgiving, which was lovely. Yeah. Yeah, I did this thing again this year where I made all the sides the night before. But the last time I did that, it took too long to reheat them. But this time I took them out of the oven like 4 hours before I needed to reheat them, hoping they would get to room temperature and then I could do it. Kind of worked, kind of didn't. I was only 40 minutes late on dinner this time, but I'm usually like an hour late, so that's pretty good. Right. I'm working in the right direction. But it was really good. Food was great. I made a couple of cakes that were delicious, and I made these cheesecake stuff, chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, they were so good. I should make those for you guys. They were really good. Anyway, so that was Thanksgiving. The only thing I'll say about Thanksgiving, and I'm going to say this because I know he's not listening, but I know what you were doing, nephew, and I don't appreciate it. So my family, we all get together.
He wasn't in the bathroom a long time, was he?
No, we all played.
We all know what was up.
We played Quiplash, and I don't know if you've played Quiplash before, but it's a game through the TV, and you use your phones to play it, and it's like Mad Libs. It's like Mad Libs and Cards Against Humanities mixed together, kind of a thing, where there'll be like a question, and then you have to answer the question. You either want to be witty or funny, or extremely crass if you're a member of my family, and then they'll show the two answers. Like two people get the question, and they'll put the answers on the TV, and then everybody votes, and whoever gets the most votes wins, kind of a thing. And so we tend to sometimes we like make little jibes at each other. A lot of times we make fun of other people in our lives, sometimes work related. Sometimes not. Depends on if Jeremy's there or not.
Careful.
And we have a really good time. But there was a question that was like, what's a hairdo that went out of style or that's not cool anymore? And my nephew put a tapered fade. And I started looking around everybody had long hair except for me.
Who has a tapered fade?
And I was like, listen here, you little pissant. I didn't bust my ass for 2 days feeding you. Anyway, maybe he was mad that dinner was late. But that's okay.
Maybe next time you'll have it down the table on time.
Yeah, he's very young too, so he gets that one.
Yeah.
But the next time we play Quiplash, you wait until you turn 18 and we play Quiplash.
Quiplash is an interesting game.
It is.
I was because I've played it. We've had events at your house and we played it, and it does. It can get kind of edgy if you're with the right crowd. But I was watching a TikTok, and apparently that's just the way that Quiplash goes. Is you have your friend answers and you have your family answers. And this particular TikTok, one of the guys had forgotten that he was playing with his family and not his friends. And the question was, what does Superman do in his private time when he's not saving the world? And his mother answered, organizes his books or something like that. He organizes his books. And the guy replied, anal. Superman does anal when he's not saving. And you hear when that comes up, you hear his mother go, oh my God. And I was like, always remember if you're playing family Quiplash or friend Quiplash. Or in your case, family and friend Quiplash.
I just have a question. Would missionary have been a more acceptable answer? I have honestly, I don't care who's there. And I have played this game with. This is probably why I shouldn't be around young people who probably don't need to hear that. But I've used the anal as an answer before, and it's hilarious. In fact, sometimes I've used the herp as an answer, and I crack up. Yeah, it makes me laugh. We have a good time. Maybe we should do that for our 100th. We'll play Quiplash with Andreas
on the podcast.
That'll be fun. I do enjoy it. So outside of that, I've done a lot of getting ready for this Watermark's holiday party. It's Friday at my house in St. Pete, and it is an insane amount of work to get the house ready for that and to decorate. Can you believe? I would say, what would you think would be an obscene amount of money to drop on holiday decorations?
I mean, unless
you've already got some.
You've got some lights. And stuff.
You got lights. You got a tree. You got some blow up things. You got a few things. But and this is like, hey, let's add to the pile.
I think $150, $200.
Caitlin, you wanna throw a number out there of something that you would think would be obscene?
Caitlin says more than 300.
Yeah. See, now when I was going through the checkout, I thought it would come in at 300. I was wrong. It came in at 500. So I said, you know what? We need to scale this back. How can I? So I ended up having to get a credit card for the store that knocked $50 off of it, and then something else knocked $50 off. So that was nice. It came down to 400. So.
All right.
But we were leaving there, and we got into a car accident. Can you believe this? That's way more dramatic than it actually was. Like saying I got in a car accident, but we're sitting at a stoplight.
Were you in your car or Dylan's car?
We're in my car.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's a new car.
We're sitting in my car, and we're at a stoplight. We're talking to Jen on the phone, telling her about all the stuff we just bought. And I look in the rearview mirror, and all I could think, I just see this car coming right at. I mean, it's not stopping, and it was so fast, I couldn't think to do anything. Like, I guess I could have tried to get in the other lane, but I just sat there, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and I just went, crap. And then you just, bam. And they rear-ended me, and Jen's like, what just happened? Oh my God, are you okay? And I was like, I got to call you back. Somebody just hit us. And, I mean, it barely scratched the car. She had slammed on her brakes, thankfully. But here's the thing, lady, if you're listening, that annoyed me, is that she gets out of the car and I walk back there and she's like, is everybody okay? And I was like, yeah, we're fine. We're just going to see what's going on. And she's like, well, I'm late for work. Is the car okay? And I was like, oh, honey. I was like, you can take a breath because we're going to look at my car and make sure it's fine. I don't care that you're late for work. So the bumper had come out a little bit and I just pushed it and it snapped back into place. And I was like, all right. I was like, you got lucky. It's just a little scratch. But I had a little scratch on the door that I got to repair anyway. So I was like, I'll just do that at the same time. So now I let her go. I was like, you got lucky. It's okay. I was paying it forward because when I was a kid, I hit a car at a stoplight. Well, I kind of rolled into it. I'd fallen asleep at the stoplight and my foot fell off the brake and I rolled into the car. I was tired. So they just let me go because they were like, oh, you got lucky. So I felt like I was paying it forward. How about you? How was your week? Other than
I wouldn't have let her go.
Than the other thing. I mean,
I'd have called the cops. I'd have had her arrested.
It was cold outside. It was kind of rainy, and I didn't want. I didn't want to wait for the cops. I didn't care if she did.
No. If somebody hits my car, I'm getting your insurance information, and I'm getting all sorts of things fixed on my car. Be like, that wasn't like that. You're gonna need to fix that. My week was good. I went up to Georgia for Thanksgiving, and it was pretty uneventful.
Some good eats.
Not bad eats. I ate with a fair amount of Trump supporting conservatives, but no politics were spoken of, so that was good. We kept it to polite family conversation. But I drove up there. I was going to drive up the day when I got off of work the day before Thanksgiving, and I was like, traffic's going to suck. So I called my mom and I was like, I'm going to drive up early Thursday morning. So I got up like at 6 o'clock in the morning and I drove, and it was perfect. Sun was coming up, had my coffee, almost nobody on the road. It was probably the easiest drive up there.
Nice.
On the drive back, I came back Black Friday, and as I was coming out of Jacksonville, right past the St. Augustine exit, there was a massive accident that had a 45-minute backup. So Google Maps was detouring me off of the interstate to cut through St. Augustine, which is fine, except
it's pretty.
It cut me through St. Augustine, and it was letting me out. It was having me get on I-95 near the St. John's Town Square Mall on Black Friday, where they had cops out there directing traffic because so many people were going shopping that I ended up sitting 45 minutes in traffic around the town center to get on 95. I was so pissed off.
That sounds like a story from like the early 90s. Like, don't people realize you can buy shit online now?
Yeah. No, they were like, nope, let's go to the town center.
Plus, you get the deals and for longer days. Anyway. I like it when people tell stories about the town center. It's
actually when it's not packed for Black Friday. The town center, if you're ever in St. Johns County, is actually really nice. But it normally takes me about 2.5 hours to get from Southern Georgia down to Orlando, and it took me 4 hours to get back. So that sucked. But other than that, it was a really easy week. It was, short week for work. We were all out of office Thursday and Friday. How do we
live such different lives? I just beg for one day where I can just sit and do nothing.
I have a lot of days where Saturday, I was going to go to the Fusion Fest, which is actually why I drove back on Friday instead of Saturday, because my mom was like, stay through the weekend. I was like, no, I'm going to go to the Fusion Fest. And then we went to Epcot on Sunday. And I woke up Saturday and I was like, ugh, I have no energy. So I did not go to Fusion Fest, but I hear it was amazing. I saw photos down at Dr. Phillips Center, and it looked amazing. Sorry I missed it. But I was just...
Don't tell your mom.
She'll probably not listen to this.
Right now she's listening and she's like, I'm not laughing.
She's so mad. No. Because it was, I was just...
Too bad that your name is like Jeremy and there's like a like it's not a nickname for a different name. What's she gonna yell at you? Just
Jeremy Scott.
Oh, okay. There
Yeah,
you go.
she throws the middle name in there. Yeah.
You're getting Jeremy Scotted right now.
Ugh, I don't like that being a verb. It sounds gross. I hear you got Jeremy Scotted this week.
Mom's gonna be like, why do you talk about bottoming the whole podcast? Is that what Scotted means?
So perverted. But no, it was good. Saturday. We'll talk about the movie we watched is a version of A Christmas Carol. And A Christmas Carol is probably my favorite Christmas story. So I basically just laid around all day Saturday, ordered food, and watched 9 different versions of A Christmas Carol. I watched a musical version. I watched the Mickey Christmas Carol, the Muppet Christmas Carol.
How's the Mickey one?
It's 30 minutes, and it's my favorite one. It's the very first Christmas Carol I've ever... Huh?
Is it because it's 30 minutes?
Well, also because it's Disney and it's cartoon. It's the very first Christmas Carol I ever watched, was the Mickey one.
My favorite one is Scrooged.
Scrooged, I also watched that one. That is my favorite grown-up Christmas movie. But yeah, I watched like 9 different versions. And it's just, it's interesting how you can take the same story and make such very different movies out of it. And it was just a good Saturday.
That's something. I sit there, I say like I want to be have time where I don't have anything to do. I did last night watch 4 episodes of The Lioness. Have you watched that? It's on Paramount. Zoe Saldana.
Ooh, I love Zoe
It's a
Saldana.
military one. Do you like military shows?
I do.
This is one of the best. It's got Nicole Kidman,
How have I not heard of this?
Morgan Freeman in it. This is the 2nd season of it. It's Paramount Plus.
Oh, that's why.
You don't have it?
I do, but shows on Paramount Plus fly under the radar.
You got
People don't talk about
this
them
one
very
is
often.
really good, and there's a lesbian character in it.
Oh.
And
Is it Nicole Kidman?
no,
Is it Zoe Saldana?
no.
All right.
But I just want to mention
2 girls
it.
I know in the show.
I feel like it's like because there's a lot of queer characters on TV shows that don't necessarily like run the show, so we don't really talk about them.
Who runs the show? Not the gays.
So I just want to, not like brilliant minds, which eventually we'll get around to talking about.
I'll eventually get around to watching it.
That is a gay-driven plot line as the main story of the show. But this is not that. But it's a great show. If you like sort of military style TV, Jack Ryan kind of stuff,
Yeah,
CIA stuff.
I do like that.
This is really a really good series.
Very nice. And then Sunday, you and I and Jen all did something together.
We did. We went to the
Epcot
Epcot Festival
do it
of the
at the same time.
holidays.
Ooh. Oh, what if we were a 3D show?
The other people are like. So we got
just so
these
you
little
know,
bugs.
You have Red Bull in yours,
Yes.
and I have a red blend Menage a Trois in mine.
Very nice.
Yes.
So it's just a regular red blend. I need to know because I have to go buy wine for the holiday party.
Menage
So
a
I'll
Trois,
get Menage
just
a Trois.
the regular red blend is probably my favorite day wine.
Day wine.
I have like special wines for special occasions, but that's my good day-to-day wine.
Nice. So we went to Epcot to Festival of the Holidays. We got
Yes.
these cute little mugs.
Yes.
So that we could so we could talk about it today. We
promote
are
them.
holiday drinking mugs for the
I love it
month
because
of
they
December.
look like Christmas balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice balls.
So cute.
So what do you want to go through and just talk about what we experienced in order as we experienced
Yes.
it?
You made notes. I didn't make notes, but what I did is I have my photos here, so I'm going to shuffle through my photos, and then hopefully that sparks joy and memories, and I'll be like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I also brought the book to say like, oh, here's what was in that, but then I left it on my desk, so we're gonna wing it.
The first thing I do want to mention is because I'm in a little pain today. We ended up, we were messaging each other and we were like, hey, we'll meet at 10 o'clock. And
Which I immediately translated into, I will leave my house at 10
you will leave your house at 10 o'clock. Also, I think that I might have given the impression that I was going to meet you at your house at 10 o'clock and we drive together. I was thinking Sunday, I don't know how long he wants to be out there, so I drove separately. I am not someone who goes to Disney on a regular, like you guys go all the time. I rarely go. So my thought process was it's the weekend, it's Black Friday weekend or Thanksgiving weekend. So traffic and parking, getting to the park is probably going to be a pain in the ass. It was not. The traffic was light, took me no time to park. So I ended up getting there at 9:30. And I was like, oh, well, he'll be along in about 30 minutes. So I go into the park, and then he messaged me. He goes, we'll be leaving at 10 o'clock. So I was like, oh, so that's going to be probably another 30 minutes. So I was like, I am going to get some steps in while I wait for them. So I was going to walk the countries of Epcot. And that's a lot more walking early in the morning than I'm used to. So I got to about Germany, about where Germany is. And I was like, yeah, we're not power walking. We're doing a nice stroll. So I was just kind of strolling along. And then you text me, you're like, hey, we're here. I was like, ah, shit. So then I had to power walk to the front. And then we walked around the park. So my phone said I did 23,000 steps yesterday. And I feel it in my feet, my thighs, and my lower back. But it was worth it because we had some really good food.
And you ate a lot of different types of food from different places, so you probably feel it in your bowels.
Oh, it's weighing on me.
That's the thing about these kind of food festivals. When you go and you eat like a variety of things. And so my thing now lately is like, I don't want to just eat the things I know I'm going to like. I have to eat something that I wouldn't normally eat.
Yeah.
Which was the Outpost peanut stew.
Oh, the peanut stew.
And that was delicious.
So good.
But wreaked havoc on our bodies, mixed in with everything else that we had.
It did not look delicious.
No.
Because it was like a curry, creamy sauce on rice, and it had the chunks of peanuts in there. I won't say what it looked like.
It bizarrely looked like a before and after photo.
But so fucking delicious. So, sorry. Sorry if you're listening, Ma. I didn't mean to say the F word.
That's what you're sorry about? You're not sorry that you lied to her and left Georgia
I didn't
early?
lie. I just plans changed. Plans are changing all the time. So while I was waiting for you to get there, I did have to stop and get a black and white cookie because I love black and white cookies. They're probably my favorite cookie. And because they're like, it's not even like a cookie. It's like a cake.
Yeah.
With the chocolate frosting, the white chocolate. And it was good. It was delicious. So I started my morning off with a Starbucks coffee. I did have a sugar cookie when I ordered my coffee. And then a black and white cookie. That was my breakfast for the morning.
Yeah, the theme of this is really going to be cookies. That's the theme of the whole thing.
Because they get the cookie walk.
Yeah, the cookie walk. And if you buy like 5 cookies, then you get a free thing.
You get a little stamp in your book, and then you you show them, hey, look, I got 5 cookies. And then they give you a cookie kit. Cookie kit.
Give me something free.
So you can make one of the cookies at home.
So I say you get something free. So this thing that you get costs you about $80. So we meet up. And we go on a hunt for the first thing that I noticed that they have is a gingerbread shake.
Yes.
So we go, we finally find it because I thought it was in one place and it was in a different. But we finally get there, and we get the gingerbread shake, which was delicious. You did not have it.
No, and the reason was I am not a fan of the flavor of gingerbread. The flavor of gingerbread is fine. I don't like gingerbread cookies. They're usually hard and crunchy, and they're not my favorite cookie. So I passed on the gingerbread stuff. I did try the gingerbread cookie though, and it was gross.
Well, yeah, and wait, you did try the shake, didn't you? Because they said it's not that gingerbready. Oh no, I tried the cookie. We said it's not that gingerbready, and you're like, okay, I'll try it. And then you ate it, and you're like, yeah, it's so gross.
It was chewy because mostly gingerbread is very crunchy. I'm used to like gingerbread men in houses.
Crunchy. Yeah,
it's usually crunchy, but this was a chewy gingerbread, which I didn't care for. But it did have a lovely dark chocolate bottom to it,
which is a very smart idea. And I'm going to give all my gingerbread men dark chocolate bottoms.
I am for it. I love it. I love a good dark chocolate bottom. Anyway, so when we had that, we had the shake, we had the gingerbread.
We did it. We had the shake. We had the triangle cookie with the thing on it, and then we had trifle.
The trifle, yes,
that was part of that.
Which we ended up getting 2 because we ordered that and the Reuben balls, and they gave you the trifle when you ordered, and then you had to stand in line to get the other food.
Yeah, because they didn't have enough.
And the guy handed me the Reuben balls. And then handed me the trifle, and not thinking, I took it. And I was like, oh, we already got this. And he was like, well, you already touched it. So I was like, okay, so we got a free trifle.
Yeah, so
that was nice.
As far as the food goes, the Reuben balls were pretty good. They're pretty good. They had a weird gritty aftertaste, but they were pretty good. The trifle was delicious.
Trifle was amazing. It had an eggnog custard in it. Ugh.
Yeah, that was really good.
It was so much better than Rachel's from Friends.
Yeah, meat good. The triangle cookie was too thick, and this is a
chewy.
running theme with all
like
their
it.
cookies. They were all really thick, and therefore I think in order to cook them all the way through to a level that you can serve the masses and not have food regulation issues, they were way dry. They were too big, too thick, too dry.
Now, not all. There were a couple we'll get to that were really good, but yeah, for the most part, they were very dry, and it felt like they were trying to recreate like crumble cookies, with like the big, thick cookies. But it's like stick to regular size cookies. It's fine. Not everything has to be a giant cookie.
No, you could do like 3 littler ones, and that'd be great. But the exciting part about that whole food experience is that the Encanto show was going on right next to us, and that was not bizarrely. That's not the right word. Let me rephrase. That was delightfully gay.
Very gay.
Very gay, because
they're very enchanting. The guy who played Maribel, because when they're doing the singing voice, they had a guy there singing the Maribel parts. I was a little attracted to him.
And there was a little bit of flirtiness going on between them. So I was like, good for you, Disney.
Swiveling of the hips and shaking of the shoulders.
Not getting into gender conformity. Well, that sound means that we're at the end of a segment, but we're gonna push through. We're gonna get through all these.
Thanks for coming by.
So after that, we stopped in China and Japan.
Which one had the spring rolls? Is that Japan or China?
It had to be China because Japan's on the other side.
Okay. Oh yeah, China or Japan's
had the on the other side of America, so this had to be.
So Japan had the spring rolls.
Yeah, it was
the
cool.
beef noodles.
The braised beef noodles, and the vegetable roll. The spring roll was good, but it was surprisingly cold.
Yeah.
And then the braised beef noodles were just
bland,
super bland.
Yeah. The beef was okay. The noodles were very, very bland.
A little bit of salt would have been great.
Not my favorite. Then
we hit the outpost.
Then we hit that peanut stew.
By the way, this is the point at which where Jeremy is like saying
the Ozempic is starting to kick in.
Yeah, and I'm like, kicking in.
I
don't
think I
want
want anymore. And then you're like, but we've got 4 more cookies on our list to try. I was like, oh,
and
no.
we didn't. We should have gone to the cookies to start.
Yeah,
but we didn't. So. Because we had to backtrack again, and we didn't want to do that. So we're like, we'll hit the cookies at the end.
I was going to show this photo if anybody's watching the video. That's the peanut stew.
Yeah,
and
it was delicious though. It was really spicy and delicious.
Like peanut stew.
So then we went to Bavaria, where Jeremy met his husband.
When he first came out, it's weird because. And I don't know if other people are this way or if it's just me, but someone can become real attractive if they are very energetic and charismatic and talented. So this guy came out and I was like, all right, you seem like a nice guy. And then he started talking in his thick German accent and he plays the trumpet and he's like singing, I want to be like you, but in German. And I was like, oh God, he just became my husband. He just became the most attractive man I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and if you need a visual, he kind of looks like somebody who would be a villain in a European version of White Lotus.
Yes. He had a beard and like curly hair and lederhosens. And
he was very outgoing though. He was committed.
Yes.
You know, like I get this impression that he's like a rock star where he comes from, and then he's over here and he's singing Jungle Book in German, and he's like, he could just be singing words like these fucking people don't know what I'm saying, and we would be like, hey, as long as it's to the rhythm.
It's that German accent. He sounded like the pigs from Shrek, and I just really dig that.
Oh, my favorite accent is the pigs from Sing.
Oh, I don't think I've seen Sing. Have I seen it? I don't know. Look.
I thought we talked
about
it. Maybe you were talking about the pigs from one thing, and I was talking about the ones from the other.
We might have been.
So but the food that we had there was the schnitzel, which was good.
Schnitzel, which I did not eat because I was still dealing with the peanut stew.
And then the hazelnut Linzer cookie,
which I did try, which was really good.
Yeah, that was really good. Then we went to America and ordered the Snickerdoodle.
The Snickerdoodle. Now it's
Snickerdoodle-doo.
Dash doodle. Because Snickerdoodle, because it's made with Snickers.
Yes.
And I did not care for that cookie.
You know, that cookie did not look like the picture.
No. There were a couple of cookies that we got, and I was like, that don't look like the picture.
That was a dry mess of not good.
And it was dry and, oddly enough, very unflavorful for a Snickers.
Yeah. And
then we hit the Jewish 10-up.
Oh, my God. L'chaim. Ooh,
a shit ton of food
shit
from
ton
Jewish.
of food. We got latkes.
Yeah.
We got salmon latkes.
Regular latkes, salmon latkes,
Arugula.
and
and-
another black and white
And a
cookie.
black and white cookie.
I've never had like a salmon. So it was cooked like you make tuna, like
Yeah.
a
Tuna salad,
like a
salmon
spread,
salad.
yeah. I've never had salmon like that, and it was delicious.
Delicious.
I am craving that right now. Thinking back,
I-
I want some salmon salad.
All of that food was delicious.
The latkes were amazing. I love a good black and white cookie, and the arugula, which I didn't know what that was, and I thought you kept saying arugula, so I thought you were ordering us a salad.
I've done that. I lived that life until I met my husband and his family.
Yeah.
Where arugulas are, well, I mean, they're Jewish, so it's like everything that I ate at this thing is like a big part of meals when we eat.
Yeah,
And so
but it was really good. I like a good arugula.
yeah, they're all of it was delicious.
Yeah.
It makes me
That was
you know,
probably the best land food-wise of everything we had.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I had to pick, we don't have to because we live in America and you don't have to do that yet. You don't have to pick a religion, but if I was going to pick one, it would be Judaism.
Yeah.
The food is so good. Also, I like the whole like the ceremony of what are that, like Passover and that sort of thing.
It's
And
funny because you're saying that, I'm drinking in the cup, and it's got the menorah and a dreidel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it. Also, like, because they're those ceremonial dinners and things like that are to teach the lessons and the history of the past. And there's never really a push to say like, oh, you all have to think like this, or you have to do this, or
Yeah.
It's more like, here, let's teach about our history and let's tell the stories of our people. I dig it.
I'd be
Anyway,
Buddhist.
and the food was great. Yeah.
There's a temple down on Hofner, I think. No. It's down near the airport where I used to live. There's a Buddhist temple there. And me and my friend Melissa, we used to go all the time when we were trying to learn more about Buddhism. And they would do a vegetarian buffet after the service every Sunday. And it was really good. That's all I
Yeah.
have to say about that. I just really like their food.
So then we're stuffed,
Yes.
and now we're just on a cookie hunt.
Yeah, now we've got a couple of cookies on our list that we wanted to try, and we're like, nothing else, just the cookies.
We were really looking forward to the coffee cookie.
Do we have the coffee cookie or that one, the crumbled?
The crinkle was after the coffee.
crinkle,
We had
okay.
the coffee first.
Then I did not get a photo of the coffee cookie.
Yeah, we had the coffee cookie, which is okay.
Yeah, it was all right. The
and-
cream on it
and
was
that's where I
good.
got the pork. So this is at the Hawaiian Christmas thing.
Yeah.
However you say that. So they got the pork and we got the coffee cookie. Coffee was okay. Then we got the crinkle cookie. That was pretty good, but that was one that not at all.
Did not look anything like the photo,
at all.
and it was all right.
So then we passed the thing that had roasted
Chestnuts
fire
roasting
roasted-
on an open
fire
fire.
roasted chestnuts, and I've never had them before. Have you? No. So I was like, let's get them and we'll test them out. And so we got a fresh batch right off the fire,
Right off the flames.
And so we didn't know how to eat them. And Jen was like, "Do you eat the shells?" I was like, "I doubt it. They were kind of hard." So I just squeezed them and squeezed the
Squeeze the nuts out. Yeah.
squeezed the nut right out of it, right into my face, and ate them, and they were weird. It was kind of mashed potato-y tasting, feeling.
I did not try them because I was already dying.
Yeah, it was.
I was
We're at
overly
the end.
stuffed.
You actually didn't want to go to the last cookie, but we were like,
No, but you were like,
we're
we
going
must.
to, and we had to walk all the way to the land, out of the way to get to it. And that was the peanut cookie. That was good.
That was it was peanut buttery
Yeah.
M&Ms on top. That was pretty good.
I feel like that one and
was very soft.
Yeah, that one and the Linzer were my favorites.
Linzer, black and white, always my favorite. But yeah, both of those were very good.
So all in all, it was pretty good. We had a good time. Again, I will say this just because it's the truth. Nothing beats any sort of food or wine festival of any kind that I've been to. Nothing beats the Swan and Dolphin Hotel.
Yeah.
The food and wine classic there. And this was sort of just proof of that kind of. Do you want to do it? You want to rate it on a grape system?
the whole festival,
Yeah.
I'll give it 3 grapes.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Well, look at you. Look at you being positive. I'm not gonna rate it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna give it 2. I'm just gonna say, like, I get that it's hard to produce mass amounts of food for people, and the lines were long, and they were turning and turning and turning, so it's hard to do that. But like a lot of the cookies were dry. Some of the food was bland. It just it just didn't strike me. But I will say, like, there were a lot of stations. They were the aerialist. That we saw, they were great. All the storytelling things are really good. I'm gonna give it 2.5.
Yeah,
so it was good. But I have an annual pass, so it's not like it was costing me anything to go.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
So yeah, if you're somebody who goes all the time, or likes the festival vibe that the Epcot offers, this is a good one to go.
Oh, and we didn't stay for this. Because we're all going back to see it some other time.
Oh yeah, the Candlelight Processional is going
which is
on.
phenomenal, and that's worth the price of admission right there.
I am planning on going on, I think it's the 12th. We're going to see Brendan Fraser, and you're going.
I'm going on Sunday to see Titus. Yeah, it should be good. So that was our weeks, and that was the food, or that was the festival of the holidays. So we decided that we're gonna do this thing in an effort to limit our to time, because we'll talk forever, and we'll probably still make this a 3-hour podcast. But we're only gonna talk about one movie this time.
Yes,
and boy, is it a doozy.
We are talking about Scrooge and Marley, a 2012 film adaptation of the Charles Dickens classic about the gays. This is a gay version of Scrooge and Marley.
Yeah. It sure is. Now, I will start off by saying this, and I've learned this. We're in the National LGBT Media Association, and we have affiliations with other newspapers around the country. And I was watching the opening credits for this, and it said it was executive produced by Tracy Baim, and I was like, that can't be the same Tracy Baim of the Windy City Times, the gay paper out of Chicago, gay news source. And I looked it up, and sure as shit, it is her. So congratulations on that. That's awesome. I am gonna say this though. I didn't really like this movie. So what I'm going to say about it and the jokes that I'm going to make about it are not a reflection of my love Tracy. And adoration of Tracy Baim, but more so of the opinions of the majority of the people that have seen this film.
Yeah. So just something I want to know, obviously, if it's the Windy City Times, it was filmed in Chicago. And I don't know if you knew this, but there's, when we get to it, the scene that takes place in the disco club was filmed at Man's Country Bathhouse. It was filmed at a bathhouse over there in Chicago, the club scenes. So if it looked familiar to you, that's why.
I'm surprised. I didn't realize that there were actual locations for the filming of this.
Yeah.
Because it looked like 90% of the movie was filmed in the little space that Harry Potter lived in under the staircase.
Yes, there are limited locations where they film this. Mostly in homes or in apartments above clubs.
It costs a lot of money to make a movie. I understand that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
So this movie starts off different than most Christmas carols that I've seen, where it starts with...
They don't all have floating drag queen heads?
They sure don't. But Bob Marley is trapped in the afterlife, dragging his chains, and he is being judged by 3 floating drag queen heads, which I assume is God in this universe?
I assume they were all divine grace.
Of course. So Marley learns that if he helps someone... I did appreciate this. The backstory, instead of Bob Marley, just Bob Marley. Is it Bob Marley? It's not. What is his name?
Jacob Marley.
Jacob Marley. All of my notes say Bob Marley. That is so weird. I had been drinking a little bit of wine while I was watching this, so some of my notes may be confusing. It is not Jacob Marley.
Because it's the gay version, so they call him Jake.
That's right. Ben and Jake is Ebenezer and Jacob. So I appreciate the backstory, because most Christmas carols don't say why Jacob Marley came back. Well, this we learn is because if he helps someone on Earth who was as bad as he was, he'll lose some of his chains that he has to drag around in the afterlife.
That's the loophole.
That's the loophole. Help somebody and you can lose some of your chains. So he decides he's going to help his old friend Ebenezer Ben Scrooge. Now, Ben, Yeah.
Can we say like the very
sure
first
can.
thing that you learned about this movie is that it's narrated?
Oh my God, yes.
It's narrated by
Judith Light. Have you ever heard, I'm sure you have heard this, I am related to Judith Light by marriage. She
Really?
is married to my third cousin, who is he's not so popular now, but he was a well-known singer back in the 60s and 50s, 60s, 70s. Like one of those loungy Italian kind of singers.
It's not Don Williams, is it?
No.
Because there's a singer named Don Williams.
No, it is not Don Williams. His last name is Desiderio.
Oh, okay.
His first name escapes me right now. We're not like talking family members.
That sounds like something you get on the Oregon Trail.
But yeah, so she is related to me through marriage. She's like married to my third cousin. I have never met her. I do not have her number. I just know that she's married to a third cousin who doesn't talk to the family anymore. I mean, it's not like we had a falling out. It's just we weren't close, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the whole story. But yeah, anyway, Judith Light is the narrator. And my third cousin.
Judith Light.
But I love her. Even if I wasn't related to her, I adore her.
Everything that she does, I love.
So Ben owns a gay piano bar.
Let me rephrase that.
Yes.
Everything except this that she does, I love. I love her.
This is one of the clubs he opened with Jacob Marley before Marley died.
Oh, can we talk about who Marley is?
Sure.
Because you mentioned that he obviously people age, but he was in the Police Academy movies. Did I write his name down? Tim Kazurinsky. And he was like the little dweeby police guy with the glasses and the small voice, and
yes.
And he's in all of them. And I just want to say that anytime that someone from the Police Academy movies, including Steve Guttenberg, makes their way into a movie, it brings joy to me.
Oh, we had the Goot in the movie last week.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. We're going to do a Police Academy movie every year until Christmas.
I bet you that we can find a Christmas movie that someone from a Police Academy film has done.
Does that the guy who makes the sound effects, what's he up to?
Oh, he was on America's Got Talent like 2 seasons ago or a season ago. Yeah, something Wilson. Anyway.
At this bar, Frida, who is Scrooge's niece, it's usually his nephew in this adaptation, he has his niece, Frida, who brings cupcakes to the bar and goes to see her uncle. And he treats her like shit. Now, I want to say in all of the iterations I watch of A Christmas Carol, I don't think I've ever seen a more unlikable Scrooge than this one. Like, I absolutely cannot stand this guy.
Yeah, he's a bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way to say it. He's not just mean. He's not just like, oh, people should work on, he's not just like an overbearing boss.
Yeah. He's not just like a conservative, Uncle Trump uncle.
He goes
person.
out of his way to be a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah.
And so his acting is over the top.
Yeah.
So my like I told you yesterday, the only thing I can think about this is that this actor is a stage actor that got hired to do a movie because it's just so
it's very over the
top and quick and.
But like Frida goes in to see her uncle and she's like, hey, we want to invite you to Christmas dinner. And he's like, bah humbug. By the way, you being born killed my sister and I hate you. And it's like, dude.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. Calm the fuck down.
How is that a proper response to, I love you, come to dinner, here's some cupcakes.
You killed my sister.
You killed my sister. Like, isn't that nice? You like family so much, then why is your mother dead? And you're living. Ironic, isn't it?
I do appreciate everyone is gay in this.
I just want to say that she was played by Rusty Schwimmer.
That's not a real name.
I wonder if she's related to David. Rusty Schwimmer. That sounds like why old men can't bother children.
Yeah,
You got rusty swimmers. She was in The Perfect Storm. She was the bar owner in that, which I just think I like to point these things out in this movie because there was some like Judith Light, there's another couple of them that were in like really big hits.
Yeah.
And then there's this film.
So Frida is a lesbian. She's married to her wife, and her wife is pregnant. That will come into that will be part of the story later when they go with the Ghost of Christmas Present, and she's drinking a glass of wine. I'm just saying. I was a little concerned about that.
It's 2012, and they're gay.
Bob Cratchit is his assistant. Also gay. Has a husband, and they have 5 adopted children because they're good people. Why these good people keep hanging out with Scrooge, I do not understand.
I mean, if the pay's not good and there's no benefits, why would you stay in a toxic environment like that?
Because his big thing is he wants
bars.
health insurance. He has a health insurance plan he's pitching to Scrooge because they have a Tiny Tim who needs health insurance. And he's like, I don't give a fuck about your family. We don't need health insurance.
I have so many comments. I mean, I get that Tiny Tim is sick, but it doesn't mean he can't have a bath.
They are quite dirty, all of them. Everyone in this movie, it seems like they were like, "Don't bathe. That'll give it a little oomph." Like, like it's back in the 1700s.
So many things to say about this movie.
This is the other thing that I find baffling is Ebenezer Scrooge, Ben, if you will, lives in a crappy little apartment above the bar, and I'm like, are you not rich? Is this the first Scrooge I've ever seen who's not rich?
That's a note I made too. I was like, I thought Scrooge had money.
Yeah.
So, but here's how I'm gonna let that pass. Is that so? How he ends up there is, he gets a job at that bar, right? And then or is given the place above it by the owner of it.
Fizzywig.
Yes, Fizzywig. And
that's the original name of the guy in A Christmas Carol.
Oh, really?
It's not like they made these names up. His name's Fizzywig in A Christmas Carol.
I thought they made it up because no one could play a character named Fizzywig other than Bruce Valanche in my mind.
Fozzie Bear did.
Okay. So, they sure they didn't call him Fozzywig?
No, but they should have.
They should
that
have.
was very
That's
good.
a missed opportunity. So Fizzywig
Wait a
was
minute, they might have. I got to go back and check.
Fizzywig's was the name of the bar, and so Scrooge was given that place to live for free.
Yeah.
So I feel like
he's like a rich miser. He's like, I don't spend my money.
Yeah. And then later when he's dating somebody and they're like, let's move into a bigger place, and he's like, why would we leave this place? It's free. So that makes it make sense.
He's rich and stingy.
Yeah, although it doesn't. It's still weird, but
so we go into the typical Christmas Carol. Marley shows up, jiggling his chains, and he's like, you'll be visited by 3 spirits. And he's like, oh, well, that doesn't sound fun. And he goes, doesn't matter, it's gonna happen. So the ghosts that visit, well, the first 2, the Ghost of Christmas Past and Christmas Present, are both people that we meet earlier from the bar.
yes.
So the Ghost of Christmas Past is the bartender, this little twink bartender.
His name is Ronnie Kroll.
Ronnie Kroll, who gets fired earlier in the film.
Which you assume is for like the 100th time that year.
Yeah, he seems like the type of person who gets fired and then rehired. But he's like super gay. As a bartender, he's just like he's a regular gay. But like as the Ghost of Christmas Past, he's like turned the gay up. He's like super gay.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? And it's like sassy gayness.
Yeah, it's very sassy.
Gayness. And so it's weird to me. Like it's over the top acting. But you'll recognize Ronnie Kroll if you're a fan of the Eating Out series.
I can't say that I am.
You've
I don't
never
know
seen
if I've ever
Eating
seen
Out?
an Eating It Out movie.
Oh God, I almost made you watch it earlier this year.
We'll add it to the list.
You will probably like them. If all you need is like hot naked guys to like a movie, then you'll like this. But they are bad. But they're almost like, I don't know, car accident bad, where you're just kind of like, you gotta watch.
Yeah, I might check them out. Eating Out is what's called.
Yeah. And
there's
it's
a series of them, yeah?
Yeah, there's no hidden meaning there. It's exactly what you think it would be about.
All right. So the guy from Eating Out takes Scrooge back. I do appreciate the fun little gay things they put in there. So the way that they go back into the past is they snort a bottle of poppers.
Did you say you liked that? This is what what did I write down here?
I appreciate it.
God, I wrote so many. This is like on page 3. I wrote so many notes about things we've already gone over. Jesus Christ, they sniffed poppers to travel back in time. Come on.
So, and this is something that happens in all of the Christmas carols, but it doesn't make it any less sadder every time it happens. But it's always like his sister or a brother or cousin. Somebody comes to get Scrooge from school and says, Father says you're allowed to come home this year. It's like, it's so sad.
So it's like all of them, his father doesn't like him?
Anytime they do the flashback when they go to the school, because a lot of them will cut the school part out when he's in school, but every time they go back to school, it's always a sibling or a cousin who comes in and says, Father says you're allowed to come home this year.
Huh.
And he looks so excited and happy, like, I'm allowed to be with my family this year? And it's like, it's so sad. Anyway, this is back in the 70s. Ben's sister picks him up from school. And his best friend comes over to the house to say he's picking Ben up to take him to dance with the girls.
Yeah, he's got some nice ladies to line him up.
I've got some ladies for your son to dance with. And the father's like, oh, thank God. I thought he was a queer.
Go now.
Go get some of them ladies. So
and
they
then he's
up.
like, to warm him up, he goes, to get him ready for this party, I've got pictures of ladies I want to show him.
Yeah, let's
So
go to
he's
your
like,
room and let me
yeah.
show you the pictures of the ladies. So they're like, okay. So they go up there, and I hate to break it to you, he didn't show him pictures of the ladies. They started to make out.
Like make out on top of each other
like
with their
shirt
shirts
coming
off.
sex about to happen, and then Papa walks in.
Yeah. Papa walks in. I'm going to tell you something. That kid that came over to make out with him, when the father showed up, that kid put her shirt on and bolted.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Anywhere that wasn't there.
He was gone.
Yeah.
So then Scrooge gets kicked out of
He
the
gets
house.
kicked out of his house.
Where Franny is like frantically saying, "Don't kick him out," and it's just so frantic. And he gets out there, and his friend's already gone.
Yeah.
Like I get the
Never
impression
brought up
he
again.
just
Never
ran.
hears from him. He may be running to this very day. He just ran and just kept on running.
It was the inspiration behind Forrest Gump.
So, yeah, and then Ben's sister's like, please, I'm sorry for Dad being a hateful homophobe. Although she never reconnects with him. I don't know why he has a connection and blames the girl for killing his sister, because she never comes back to him.
I was like, she never reconnected because she died.
Well, I mean, eventually, yeah. But she got pregnant, never called him, never said, screw you, Dad, I'm going to hang with my brother. Nope. I don't know. Maybe he was loaded. I don't know.
I got the impression that they were... Didn't he have a speech about something about how they were talking and then... No, because I don't know where he got the letter.
He never saw his sister, and then the letter came.
That's true.
So he's
Let's
wandering the
overanalyze
streets.
Scrooge and Marley.
So the next visit is to the club, or I'm sorry, it's the bathhouse. This is when they go to the bathhouse, and this is where he meets Jacob. And Marley takes Scrooge over to Fezziwig's, which is the club everyone goes to. It's the most happening place in town. And then they go in,
There were
it's
tens
an
and
empty
tens of people
room.
there.
Obviously, apparently that was filmed in a bathhouse. And it looks like the saddest club. I was like, that's the best club you have in town? So sad. Makes me not want to go to Chicago. So that's where we meet Fezziwig, who is played by
Chicago's lovely, by
Bruce
the way. You'll
Valanche.
really like
I've heard
Yeah.
it's very nice.
Played by Bruce Valanche, who, let me just describe the way. I have always known Bruce Valanche as like just big Muppet style hair with a big Muppet styled beard.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently he shaved. And rather than have him grow his beard out, I don't know, maybe he can't anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
But rather than have him grow his beard out, they put the fakest beard on him. And he looks like that Muppet that like gets high and plays with Janice in the band.
Yeah.
It's just so weird.
Bruce Valanche is one of those people who I don't know how I know him, because I don't know what he does or what he's been in that I would have seen, but
Hollywood
I know
Squares.
of him. Even when I never watched like the Hollywood Squares where he was on. Like I remember watching Hollywood Squares like back in the 80s.
Yeah, he's a personality.
But I don't know where I would have seen this personality.
Well, he's done a couple of Pride events here. He's been at Parliament House a few times. I can't think of movies, but yeah, he has little bit parts and things here and there. But he was just like a personality on Hollywood Squares, I think, on the newer, whatever the newer version of it is.
I don't like how he was forced upon me. Like, I didn't seek him out. He sought me out.
Yeah, he's definitely a caricature of a person in this.
Yeah.
Like, all he needs is drugs and naked hot boys, and he didn't care about anything else.
Yeah. So he hires Ben as a dancer, I think.
I think?
He says, hey, you're hired. And he goes,
Now
go
go
dance.
dance.
But it's not like he gets on a box and dances.
he just goes and dances.
He just goes on the dance floor and dances with Bill. He meets Bill. And Bill is the love of his life. So Bill and Ben are celebrating their first Christmas, and that is when the letter comes, and Ben finds out his sister is dead died while giving birth. And
oh my God! Remember when they were dancing in the lights?
The little weird sparkle, weird animations.
That was like that happened in post, right? They're like, oh, this room is dark and there's no color to it, and they're like, we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
And so they just put up blinking like
weird,
lights.
sparkly, glittery shit. So he gets the letter and he's all upset, and he's like, my sister's the only one who ever loved me, even though she never came to see him again.
That's the one that she's dead.
Yeah, she's dead and the baby's born.
It's one of my favorite, most confusing parts of this thing is that Bill then comforts him about the fact that his sister was dead, and he says, let's see what we can do about that niece of yours. And I was like, are they gonna go kill her? It was so weird.
I'm sorry your niece killed your sister. We will get revenge.
You're right. That's what it's all. Let's see what we can do about that niece of yours.
And he's like, oh, I don't want nothing to do with that bitch. She killed my sister.
Yeah. Which doesn't make sense as a real reaction from a human being. A human being would just have to understand.
Yeah.
The baby had nothing to do with it. Much like Bill said.
So Bill tells him he loves him and that he'll always be there for him.
No matter what.
No matter what. I want you to remember that. No matter what. So Fezziwigs becomes Fezziwig and Sons. And
Fezziwig and Sons.
Fezziwig and Sons.
Sounds so British. Fezziwig and Sons.
So this is when Scrooge and Marley start their plan to basically keep Fezziwig coked up and drunk until he signs over his bar to them.
Yeah, they're so weird.
Sleazy.
He's just doing shots and looking at people dancing and just signing papers like he doesn't know he's signing. And clearly he's signing away.
Okay, first of all, they're in like a school gymnasium or a rec center or something. And there's 3 guys in their underwear up on the stage, which just the week before, the high school drama club was doing
did Grease
or Little Shop of Horrors or something. And these 3 twinks are up there dancing in their underwear, which no disrespect to them, because I'm not one who should judge a body, but you really don't have dancer bodies.
They were happy hour dancers.
They were. And he's sitting there drinking and looking at the dancers and just signing his life away. So they force him out, and the sons of Fezziwig and Sons force him onto the streets. Like, they're like, don't know where you can go, but you can't stay here.
I know, and they were so rude about it. It was so rude. And it was almost sad because it's almost like there's this, senile old man who's just like, I don't understand. I was so nice to you. Why are you doing this? And they're like, that was your problem. Bye.
Yeah. So Bill decides he's leaving Ben because he's turned into this heartless monster. And then Ben throws his little temper tantrum.
This is the point at which that whole scene, I was like, this is given like mad after school special vibes.
Yeah. So we fast forward to the 80s, and it's the 80s and they're gay. So obviously Bill dies of AIDS. If you're doing a gay story in the 80s, someone's got to die of AIDS. Yeah. So Bill dies of AIDS.
Which they don't actually call that. They just say he was sick.
No, I feel like they said. Did they? They didn't. Maybe I just assumed it was AIDS. Yeah,
I just assumed too.
All right.
I assumed that of Jenny in Forrest
Jenny
Gump
died
as well.
of AIDS, yeah,
but they don't say that.
So Ben didn't go and see him when he got sick, and he didn't go see him when he died. And Bill had left him a letter when he was leaving him, and he just shoved it in a drawer. And apparently it stayed there for 30 years.
And he never read it.
Never cleaned up the drawer, never read the letter. Same spot 30 years later.
I'm just saying, if 30 years later, that drawer is going to have more shit in it than that.
Oh, yeah. He lifts up 2 pieces of paper and he's like, yeah, good thing I didn't bury this over the last 30 years. So we go to the ghost of Christmas Present, who is Terry, who is one of the ladies who was at the bar in the beginning of the movie, who is played by...
Sorry, I just started laughing. I read one of my notes. It's coming up. Megan Cavanaugh, who was Marla in A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own, yeah.
Big fan.
So they go to Frida's house, and this is where they're playing charades, and Frida's wife is pregnant and drinking wine and gives Frida a drink, and they decide to have a toast to Scrooge because they're making fun of Scrooge. And Frida's wife is like, don't make fun of him. He's a good person down inside, so let's have a toast to him. And they're all like, here's to Ebenezer Scrooge. And it's like, he's done nothing worthy of a toast. And I don't know what that is. It like pregnancy brain?
Like,
is
sometimes
that why
you just gotta cut toxic people.
Yeah.
Although good for those that kept him around.
There's a couple of music interludes where they stop and people sing and they have like those little montages.
My favorite parts of the movie, honestly.
And in one we see Fezziwig in the present time is in like a halfway house or something, or like a cheap studio apartment, and he's just in bed eating.
Oh wait, that's the future.
No. The future is when he's in the wheelchair.
Oh.
This is in the present time.
Oh, they're just showing him, and
they're just showing like clips of people, and they just cut to him in bed. They go to Bob's house, and we meet his 5 adopted kids and his husband, and they sing songs, and they get ready to open gifts, and then Tiny Tim is near death because he coughs. And he's like,
and because they haven't bathed him in a week.
Yeah,
maybe that's why he's sick, people. If you give him a bath, maybe he'll get better.
Now, what I did appreciate is they're sitting there, and they're like getting ready for Christmas dinner or whatever, and he goes, so they're like, get him his oxygen, and they pull him this big oxygen bag and put this mask on him, and it's like, oh, all right, little cough, better put him on oxygen.
Some sort of asthma thing or something going on.
Yeah. So, so we see that, and then my favorite part of the movie is the ghost of Christmas Future.
Oh wait, no, we have got to address what happens to the ghost of Christmas Present. So her whole shtick is that she's only there for one day.
Yes, because the present is fleeting and is only there for a day. So she's aging while they're doing this.
And then at one point, she's getting ready to say goodbye to him, and she's looking haggard, and she opens up her dress.
Yes.
What the fuck was hiding under her dress?
This is in the book. This is from the book. And I forget who they were, but it's like want and greed or something. It's like 2 feelings. And then there's like this whole thing about how if you're wanting and greeding or whatever. And
the only feeling those were terror.
But they were...
It was nightmarish.
Hideous. They were very nightmarish.
It was crazy. And then, so right after that, I don't know if you know, I pick up stupid little details and I have to talk about them. After that, he has to make a drink for himself. And he grabs a drink and he takes something which you would think was an Alka-Seltzer and he plops it in the drink.
I did notice that. And it does nothing.
It doesn't dissolve.
What did he put in that? Is that maybe one of those like those metal discs that you freeze instead of having ice in your whiskey?
Did it come out of the freezer or that he pulled it out of a drawer? Like it was an Alka-Seltzer. It was the weirdest thing.
It was very weird. But the ghost of Christmas Future shows up and he's dressed like the Babadook, but over his eyes are 2 of those foil Christmas ribbons.
Yes.
So he's got a red Christmas ribbon and a green Christmas ribbon over his black. He's got the top hat, the long thing. He looks just like the Babadook. Yeah. Which is weird because you're like, he ripped him off. This movie came out like 4, 5, 6 years before Babadook came out. So I think Babadook watched this and said, that's what our villain needs to look like.
Probably said, there's no way in hell anyone has seen this movie. I'm gonna make this really popular thing based on it.
So they go to the future and they're at the club and everybody's singing about how Scrooge is dead and nobody's sad about it.
Isn't that what people would do? Isn't that what somebody dies? You're all gonna laugh and sing a song about it.
And he was dead for 4 days before anybody found him. That's how loved he was.
That's probably the thing that would make me change the most.
Yeah.
Is if I laid there dead for 4 days.
Nobody found you for 4 days.
That's a lot.
So something we forgot to mention in the beginning is they have an LGBT center and they come and ask Scrooge for money and he's like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not giving you no money. So in the future, the center closes because they don't have funds.
Yeah.
But even though it's closing, they're all super happy Scrooge is dead. So they're like, we don't have a center anymore. Well, that motherfucker's dead. So... Yeah. positive silver lining.
They're all super happy about it. But
Tiny
then
Tim
somebody
died.
else dies.
Tiny Tim died.
Tiny Tim dies. And I don't know if you noticed this, but when they're all, we haven't addressed this, and I don't know if the kids in this film were related to people involved in it, and they were in as favors, or they're like, hey, we don't have to pay them if we just use our own children.
Yeah.
But they were not actors.
No.
And the one little girl was legit sitting on the couch. She had to bury her face in her laughter because she was laughing about Tiny Tim dying.
There's a couple of scenes. First in the scene when they're at Christmas and Tiny Tim is coughing, and then in the death scene when he's dead, that a couple of kids look directly at the camera. So go back and watch that because that's fun. See which kids look right into the camera. So yeah, life sucked. And they bring Scrooge to his grave. Well, the ghost of Christmas Future brings him to his grave, and he's over his tiny little ugly tombstone. Again, you're rich. You got nothing.
Yeah.
You got a little stone. And he's like, I want to change. I'm sorry. And then poof, he appears back in his apartment. No cool special effects or anything. It's just like a fade in, fade out kind of thing.
And then the overacting commences yet again.
Yeah. He's like, ooh, and he's like prospector man dancing in the apartment. He has a turkey and pies delivered to Bob's house, which saves Tiny Tim.
I've used Uber Eats and I've used DoorDash. There's another one I haven't used. I forget what it's called. Now, is that the one where you will order a turkey and they'll deliver it open on a platter?
On a platter? Yeah. It's Uber Scrooge. Uber Scrooge does that.
I imagine that in a lot of discussions about how things should go in this, they're like, nobody's going to notice this. Or, yeah, people will forgive this. It's a movie. No, not me.
No, we will remember forever. So he drops a check off at the center so they can stay open.
Which makes someone gay gasp and faint.
Yeah.
Must have been a lot of money.
And then he goes to Frida's house for Christmas. And he's like, I'm sorry. I kept saying you killed your mom.
Yeah.
Can I come in for dinner?
Pretty much.
So they end up going, Ben makes Bob a full partner in all of his businesses, tells him he's going to sign up for health insurance, give everybody raises. So Tiny Tim's going to live. Then they do the thing where he's cutting the ribbon on the new center, and then it flashes it's like front page of the newspaper. And it's the Windy City Times.
Hey, look at that.
So
Congratulations.
gave it to the shout out. She probably said, I will produce this, but my newspaper.
Well, I mean,
that better be
I
on
would.
At the end.
100%. Have you seen the documentary we made? Or watermarks are all over it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then Scrooge lived every day as if it were Christmas. End credits.
Wouldn't that make Christmas boring? Anyway, go ahead.
Did you watch the end credit scene? There is a secret special Marvel style scene at the end of the credits.
I think that you know me well enough to know the answer to that question.
Well, you missed out on Jacob Marley and his little friend who he met in the afterlife.
Oh, yeah?
Chains dropping off. Scrooge became such a good person, he lost all of his chains.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Then what happens to you when you lose all your chains?
You go to heaven like good boys and girls.
Well, there you go.
And that was the movie.
At the end, there was a whole thing at the bar. And when he gave everybody the raises, did you notice that he was like, hey, a round of drinks for everyone on me? And then he just reaches down and picks up a platter that already has like 6 glasses full of champagne in it. So I say, good thing Randy had those drinks poured already. Like again, that's another one of those.
Randy gets fired every day.
Right?
Because he keeps wasting alcohol.
Right? Come on, Randy.
Anyway, so that was one of the 9 Christmas carols I watched on Saturday. I would say this ranks probably 7, 8, 9, somewhere in the bottom of it. Definitely not the top. I don't think this was the worst one I watched, though.
Really?
No. There's some really bad ones out there.
I'm sorry. I don't know. This was just not.
Yeah.
It was not.
One of them that I watched
me.
was an 11-minute silent film from 1917 or 1916.
Damn.
That
You're not
one
kidding.
was
there's a race for the worst of the.
Yeah, that was neck and neck for the bottom with this one. But I really liked Bob in this. But I liked and we looked it up. He appeared in The Walking Dead. He was in a couple episodes of The Walking Dead.
You know what? I'm going to give this the factor of, and this is a shout out to Tracy and everybody involved in it. Yeah, they made an all gay production of Scrooged and Marley, and it's probably the decisions made were probably meant to be campy and fun.
Yeah.
You know, like the poppers and things like that. Like so I get it.
There's
It's
a campiness
cool.
to it. The drag queen floating
100%.
heads.
And so kudos for putting that out there in the world for the gay community to see and for making films like this, because I think they're important.
Yeah.
You know, but in the grand scheme of all the things that we watch and all the ratings that we have to give things, I'm gonna probably give this 1 grape. Which we gave like a half a grape to the movie last week.
I'll get which one?
Home for the Holidays. I don't think either of us really like that.
Oh no, but I gave that one grape.
Oh, okay.
And I will give this 1 grape.
Yeah, I'll give this 1 grape as well.
Yeah.
You know, if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, hey, I'm going to watch 12 Christmas Carol type shows, you should probably make this one of them.
Yeah. Throw a gay in there. You watch a animated one.
I do like.
There's a nice dance one on Tubi where it's all dancers and then the characters are voiced over by famous British actors.
I shall never watch that.
Okay. I didn't think you would.
All right, so next time we're going to talk about...
Is there no Rotten Tomatoes on this?
Oh, you know what? There's a thing. There was a popcorn meter. Is that the audience score? It says popcorn meter.
Oh, I think it's Rotten Tomatoes for the critics, and then I think the popcorn meter might be the
So there's only
audience.
popcorn meter.
Oh, 38%.
You thought it was that good?
No, I didn't. I mean, you know, there's fans of everything. Is it worse than 38? 12%.
There's less than 50 reviews. And
Okay.
one of them said, I really appreciated how they had all the gay characters, even though the acting was terrible and the songs were mediocre.
I did not know you did a review. I'll go 18%.
20.
Oh, okay. All right.
20. This might be the lowest rating of anything that we've done.
Oh, no, we've got something
think
was
20
in the teens, right?
Was it?
I don't know. I'll go back and look. I
All
feel
right.
like we did something that was in the teens.
Yeah, we're going to have to look before the next
Naked
3
Boys
weeks.
Singing? Was that?
I think that was
had to be in the
24.
teens. No. This was definitely better than Naked Boys Singing.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there's...
At least this had a narrative story I could follow.
I'm surprised that you would say that, because at least Naked Boy Singing had penises.
Yeah, but they weren't all good.
I give those penises 1 grape.
I can give them half a grape. Those penises got half a grape.
All right, so next time we're going to talk about...
A Family Stone.
Family Stone.
With
and,
Diane Keaton, Sarah Jessica Parker,
and
Claire
you'll tell us how
Danes.
Casey Musgraves is tonight. We'll talk about Watermark's holiday
Ooh,
party.
yes.
It'll be a good
Lots to
hootenanny.
talk about. But until then, the cork is back in the bottle.